Welcome inside our New York studios. Cardale Jones, Kevin Carter, I'm Brent Stover. Another wild Saturday in college football with major implications for the college football playoff pictures, as we can see right here. Ohio State, A&M, and Indiana all took care of business. The same cannot be said for the Crimson Tide, who lost to the Sooners. So, Kevin, how does Alabama's loss Saturday impact their college football playoff standing?
Well, as of right now, with only one SEC loss, Alabama would still be the team going to the SEC championship to face Texas A&M. So right now, they're still safe. Georgia's in a great spot because they don't have to play in the championship game right now. But for Alabama, it takes down their stock just a little bit in terms of how they look kind of going in because of the way they lost this game. Not being able to run the football hasn't been a liability until week 12, until they ran into a buzzsaw, which was the number 7 defense in the country in the Oklahoma Sooners, and John Mateer, and 3 turnovers later, Oklahoma gets the win, and Alabama's still not in a worse spot, but with 2 weeks left to play, they got the Iron Bowl against Auburn. It's going to be interesting. They're getting to finish off strong so they can win themselves a trip to possibly face off with Texas A&M in the championship game.
Yeah, we know how unpredictable that Iron Bowl and just week 12 of all of college football, when you talk about rivalry week, is for everyone on this list here. But if Alabama dropped 2 of the last 3 games of the season, it's going to be tough for them to make it to the SEC championship game going against a potential A&M team who is suffocating on defense. We saw them today not give up one single point in the second half of the game after giving up 30 in the first half, a defense that's really battle-tested to this point of the season. And Alabama being one-dimensional, when you look at this top 5, maybe 6, maybe 7 teams on this list right now, they can play offense, they can run the ball, they can throw the ball, and they play great defense. Right now, I can't say that about Alabama. Even though they still control their own destiny, they went out clearly, they're going to be one of the top 4 seeds if they win the SEC championship game. But it's going to be a struggle when you talk about, maybe that potential second game in that playoff series when you're going to match up with some of these top teams in the country.
All right, Alabama had a rough Saturday while the Sooners enjoyed an historic win there in Tuscaloosa, and a win that could make a huge impact on their CFP future. Isn't that right, Cardale?
Yeah, 100%. I think they put themselves in position. If they win out, they'll be one of those SEC teams that we've been talking about all year who's going to have that 10-2 record that's going to be safe in that playoff type of scenario. I look at them as a Tennessee from last year where things taking care of business and a lot of things going their way that's out of their control. Outside of, that unfortunate slip up to Texas early on in the Cotton Bowl, this team is really good. And I think they proved it today. They're going to move up a few spots, definitely ahead of Texas after beating Alabama. But they're in a really, really good situation right now.
Yeah, really a good, I think, a championship moment for Marcel Reed and the Texas A&M Aggies to be down 30 points to South Carolina and find a way to come back. And Marcel Reed leading the charge, out in front of this because he was the one that kind of messed things up in the first half. But to see him respond, they had 2 receivers that had 11 catches, 300 yards, and alone, just the 2 of them. And when you look at their performance, 430 yards passing in the game for Marcel Reed to come back and get this win. So they're peaking at the right time. I like Texas A&M. They got Missouri and LSU to finish the season, and it looks pretty good because they'll be favored in both of those matchups. And it seems like if they take care of business and do what they've been doing, this battle testing helps. But this is a pretty good road into Atlanta for the Aggies.
Okay, meantime, one of Oklahoma's biggest rivals, Texas, the Longhorns suffering a drubbing at the hands of Georgia in Athens. Kevin, is the Longhorn college football playoff chances all but dashed at this point?
Well, with 3 losses on the season, it kind of looks that way. I mean, there's a big red X for a reason up there, and I know we have them kind of playing in, but the rankings will change after this weekend. Arch Manning didn't have necessarily a great day. Pedestrian numbers, had a bunch of drop passes, but the team overall, 9 penalties on the day. Not a disciplined team, not playing its best football, unable to manufacture yards and production on the ground with Quintravian Wisner. So they're not looking like a playoff team. And with that 3rd loss, they may have just pushed themselves out, depending on how these other teams like Vanderbilt waiting on the wings to get in might give them a chance to slip into that top 12.
Yeah, they're going to need a lot of things to go their way that's out of their control. And you look at the way they played today versus Georgia. And one thing about this Texas team, they are another one-dimensional team. At one point in the season, more than halfway through the season, Arch Manning, the quarterback, was the leading rusher. So not able to run the ball. When you talk about these top teams in the college football playoffs right here, they are complete teams. Yeah, we talked about Alabama as being one-dimensional, but they got an elite passer on. They got an elite passer with Ty Simpson and a really good passing game, but we saw what that looked like when you played against a really good defense, which all of these teams, 6-1, has a really good defense. Texas, I cannot put them in that conversation yet of getting in the college football playoffs, but they're going to need a lot of help for it to kind of look similar to this here in the next 3 weeks.
Okay, the biggest enigma in college football has got to be the ACC. Cardale, Georgia Tech won a tough one against Boston College on the road. Are they your favorite at this point to capture the ACC spot? We feel like it's only going to be one spot in the CFP.
You know what? As of right now, yeah. I mean, I know Georgia Tech still have that big game versus Georgia here in 2 weeks in Atlanta, but it really doesn't matter for them because it's a non-conference game. It's a rivalry game. You want to go out here and win each and every game you put yourself in position to. But they haven't. I think a team that really matches up versus this Georgia Tech defense or this Georgia Tech team is Miami. But I don't think Miami would be there with dropping 2 games and one of those games being to a team that's ahead of them, like Louisville in the ACC. It's going to be tough to get multiple teams in. It's going to be tough to get the matchup we all want to see with Georgia Tech and Miami. So I'm going to take Georgia Tech.
Coming into this weekend, I'm with you. I think the committee's been kind of laying Easter eggs, kind of telling us the direction that they're going to go in terms of ranking. Look, the one thing you have to have in order for your teams to work into that top 12 is significant representation at the top end of your conference. And right now, going into this weekend, Georgia Tech was carrying the torch for the ACC. I think they were ranked, 16 down there? And, you have a bunch of 2-loss teams. Miami's got 2 losses. Louisville's got 3 losses. Virginia's got 2 losses. SMU's got 3 losses. And you just don't have those elite teams showing up in that top 12 to 15 spots in the AP poll and consequently in the college football playoff poll. So there's going to be one team. And I know we've got this model has Miami kind of penciled in that spot, because maybe they've had a little bit of a resurgence in recent weeks as they've got a chance with all the attrition in the ACC. They may find themselves, they'll find themselves in the ACC championship game and maybe win it. But it's definitely just going to be one team that's going to make it in. That's what the College Football Committee's been saying. We don't even have the 4 teams that have byes listed up here on this one because it doesn't matter. You got to make it into the top 12, and I think this is just one spot.
Top of the rankings. Where is the separation, Cardale? Quickly, is it right after Ohio State? Are they far and away better, or is it Ohio State, Indiana, and both of them are far and away better? Where does the separation come at the top in your mind?
I think 1, 2, and 5 will be ultimately the top 4. So Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, and Georgia would be your top 4. And I think it's not a big separation between 4. I mean, when you talk about 5, 6, and 7, but that any combination of Georgia, Alabama, Georgia, A&M, Indiana, Ohio State, I'm satisfied with. Then it's a step or 2 below with everybody else.
Good stuff. Cannot believe we are 12 weeks now in the books. Can't wait to see the new rankings coming out on Tuesday night.